Here we go. My name is Finn, son of Wes Coakley, and I am going to be interviewed by Wes Coakley. So here we go.
And how old are you?
I am 10 years old, almost 11. It is November
22nd,
22nd,
2024.
2024.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
So, I guess we can say we are in New York.
Yeah, we're in New York State, not New York City.
So, Finn, what is your profession?
Well, I study, I guess. That is a profession. It's what I do during the day. And I do plan to be, once I'm old enough, a cook, because I like cooking and I like food.
Okay. And so you study. What do you study?
I study, let's see, well, there's many subjects in school: English, social studies, math and science. I'm studying for my career, and culture, but my favorite has to be geography and social studies, and career exploration.
You said you study culture. What is that?
It's not only culture. It has to do with ethics too. We learn about empathy and different cultures, emotional intelligence, and many other topics that you wouldn't usually study in school.
And what class is that in?
It is taught by, well, I'm not going to say the name for privacy reasons, but it is Self and Culture Exploration is the official name of the name of that class.
Can you define what culture is?
Culture, in my words, this is not the actual definition, can be, it doesn't have to, it defines a group and their traditions, their food, sort of like what they're all about. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me what is your favorite subject?
Well, I think you asked that question already. Or you didn't ask it, but I told it. But it would be geography and social studies and career exploration.
And what is it you like about those classes?
Career exploration, I get to learn about jobs and wages and just what to know about what job you want to be. And for geography, it's not just like the land. I like landforms and stuff, but I especially like learning about ancient civilizations like Mesopotamia and ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and ancient China.
Well, you studied the Mayans.
I've studied Native American civilizations for a long time. I like it. Don't get me wrong. It's just I like more of the Eurasia civilizations a bit more. I probably would like the Native Americans a lot more as a civilization. I do like them. I respect all civilizations. Just I learned about them like 5 years in a row, or that's a bit of an exaggeration, more like 3 years in a row. But it's just there's been a lot of Native Americans studying in all my schools.
Well, that's maybe quite different from my school when I was your age. Well, can you tell me what other subjects interest you that perhaps are outside of the realm of school right now? Like maybe something you'd like to learn, but you haven't had the opportunity to learn it, or they're not teaching it at school right now, or maybe that you would like for them to teach, or maybe you look forward in the future to learn when you get older.
Well, when I go to college or high school or graduate school, anything like that, I would definitely like to study abroad in Japan or study abroad anywhere new, to be honest. Japan especially, because I've always had an interest in like Eastern Asia countries. It fascinates me, and I'm interested in the high energy Tokyo vibe. And yeah, I plan to study abroad.
Now, it's interesting because you said the ancient civilizations that you really found interesting was Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome, but you seem to have a very keen interest on learning more about East Asia and specifically Japan.
Yeah, Japan interests me a lot about their samurai, and how they've transformed after the bomb USA dropped on them, and how the citizens have dealt with it, and how
The what? Citizens?
of Japan have dealt with it, which makes me feel like they all came together to like help each other and just, but it also can be scary about how they had to make a whole movie about a giant lizard because of what was it called, the bomb?
Godzilla? Oh,
The bomb.
the atom bomb? The atomic bomb?
Yeah.
Or the nuclear bomb?
The atomic bomb. Oh yeah, it was the atomic bomb, but I'm pretty sure it had a specific name. Sorry guys, I forgot. Okay.
Oh, yeah, they did have names. I know the Enola Gay was the plane that dropped them.
Yeah. I'll just.
That
Yeah.
was on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh yeah, Hiroshima.
That was the city.
Yeah.
Hiroshima's the city, and Nagasaki's the second city. I want to say either Hiroshima or Nagasaki was actually on my brother's birthday. It was August 6th, I want to say.
Just a second, guys. I'm Googling it.
Whatever they named those bombs.
Well, apparently the name of the actual bomb was called Little Boy.
Little Boy, yeah. But there was one for Hiroshima, one for Nagasaki.
Maybe they have a name for like the event.
It's called a nuclear holocaust. Well, let's move on. What is it? What have you learned about that? Have you learned about that in school, or what got you interested in this? The fact that the Japanese society was transformed by the bombs that were dropped.
Well,
how that worked.
it took a lot of forgiveness by Japan, not us. We were the one that did it. But I'm glad we're allies right now because I like Japan, and I would not like the country I am in to dislike Japan. But what was the question again?
Oh, I was just curious. It seems like you have a specific interest in this phenomenon. I'm curious, like, how this came about.
It's
Like,
not the bomb necessarily that I'm interested. It's more like the tall buildings, the culture.
But you were interested in how, for instance, Godzilla was
Yeah.
a way that the society dealt with the repercussions of the bomb, in a sense.
Another thing that I find interesting about the bomb is this might be just a coincidence, but in the original movies of Godzilla, Godzilla was the villain, the real like monster that destroyed everything, and that's what I really liked about it. Is how in the newest movies, the ones made by America, or in the United States of America, I should say, Godzilla has become a good guy and an ally, which is sort of funny because the United States of America's were the ones that dropped the bomb, and if Godzilla is a symbol of the bomb, correct? Then saying the Godzilla / the bomb is good may just be a coincidence, but it is most likely a coincidence. But the newest movies, Godzilla vs. Kong, I think, and Godzilla X, I think, the ones made by the creators of the first Godzilla. The Japanese one, the newest Japanese one, Godzilla was still the villain. But in the newest American one, Godzilla was now like a friendly monster that didn't mean to do any harm, which is just feels wrong to me.
Yeah, well, I think you might be onto something. And it's possible that the American version was created using military intelligence, or might have been even created using the instruction directly from the military. The military could have promoted it, or in some way, shape, or form participated in the creation of it.
Of Godzilla or the
yeah,
bomb?
of Godzilla. Definitely. It's very likely. It's very possible. But it's very interesting what you said. In other words, Godzilla was taken over as a artistic project, was basically appropriated by the United States and recapitulated as a narrative or motif that kind of repositioned Godzilla as something which was actually a positive change rather than one that was like utterly devastating, which it was clearly devastating because it killed over 1 million people. I don't know, ultimately millions I think died. I don't know all the details, but I know it was really utterly devastating. It was the most devastating use of the atomic bomb in human history. The only use of it really to murder, to carry out mass murder, which is what it was. But the proponents of that act and the general proposition, which is more or less taught to children today within the United States, is that the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki was a good thing, because it ended the war and therefore it saved lives. So they actually argue that the dropping of the atomic bomb on those two in those two locations on those two different days, that was actually an act that was on some level like almost like a charitable act. But of course, I personally think that's just propaganda and lies. But what you're saying is that, in fact, the narrative plots of the movies have been slightly changed when the Americans took over the production of it. Which, so I think what you're saying, what you're onto, is actually something which is very possible. Because the Americans' attitude about the dropping of the atomic bomb is completely different. The general narrative which is taught to Americans in school is completely different. There's museums that that hold the Enola Gay plane, for instance, as an artifact of that brings about freedom and justice and equality for all. That's the that's the way that it's sold to the American public, as it's something that brought about freedom, and liberation. It's like, but anyway. So I agree with your skepticism about the way that the plot of Godzilla changed. I think that's a very keen way to look at it, and a very smart way to look at it critically. So, what about other interests that you have that are maybe a little more extracurricular, or something you want to learn about that you're not learning now, or maybe you'll learn about it in the future? Is there anything in particular that strikes your fancy that you think about or you would like to learn more about?
Well, I think the whole Japan thing is all I have to say about extracurricular. But I would like, there's at my school there's a cooking club that I want to do. But I don't know.
That could be fun. What is it about cooking that appeals to you?
Well, the first recipe I memorized in my head and can cook with ease, scrambled eggs. It was just a lot of fun, and it's simple, and I like the idea of cooking for myself, and it just is much more rewarding to cook a meal for yourself and eat it and it being good, just like how instead of someone buying something for you, which is good, just you working to get more money and then getting something you want is like more rewarding, in my opinion.
All right. Well, is there anything you can tell me about something that you'd like to do? Well, you mentioned how you'd like to eventually go to Japan. Is there anything else that you'd like to do in the next few years that you haven't done yet?
Well, I would definitely try and get back into Taekwondo, which I have currently a green belt in. Where I used to live, I was a green belt in Taekwondo, but I had to move to where I live now. So I sort of quit Taekwondo because it was just a lot of other forms of martial arts that I didn't really know. And I've worked so hard to get a green belt in Taekwondo, I wouldn't know if any other Taekwondo places would start me at a no belt or not. So most of my after school activities are learning about anime, or manga, which is a piece of like a comic book, but it is published and produced in Japan, and usually, since in Japan you read right to left instead of left to right, usually traditional manga you read left to right. Yeah. So I definitely recommend watching anime or reading it. A good star one is Naruto, but yeah. Should we end it here? It's 20 minutes and 36 seconds. What do you think?
Yeah. Any closing remarks?
Well, please watch any of the other videos if you find this interesting. You think? Some of them may be for like people over 18 because it's sort of boring for younger people, but definitely watch this.
That's my expertise.
Yeah, but we'll release more like exciting slash
Blow your mind.
just
Entertain little
entertain
10-year-olds.
entertaining videos.
Videos that compete with video games, maybe.
Yeah.
Bright flashing lights.
See you guys at the next video. They'll probably be in like a few months or weeks. I don't know. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.